What is up? What is up, YouTube? Hey, you might want to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell because Uncle Mike is going up. I am going to go up to this trial. As soon as I get home, I think I'm going to rest for 2 or 3 days because I know I'm going to have jet lag. I'm a little old, right? I'm 59, young. So me and another old head, one of my buddies who's 59, shout out to Tom Slick. Tom, man, we're going to have to ride up there and do some talking. Yeah, we're going to ride up there and do some talking, man. Because we got to, come on, cuz we can do this, bruh. Don't nobody want to pay attention to Uncle Mike, man. Let's. I wish I had one. Just one. That's all. Just one person. Anyway, we're going to ride up there. We're going to do what Tisha tells us doing, and we're going to talk and get some information and everything. But check this out. The tapes are real. I'm trying to let y'all know, man. Cassie up there spilling the beans on a lot of stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the daggone trial. It don't have nothing to do with the trial, but god dang, it was juicy. You mean to tell me Diddy like to pee on people? I thought it was just R. Kelly. Hold up. Wait a minute. Pause. So you mean to tell me there are people in this world, male or female, right? They're like this. What they call it? They call it yellow rain. Something rain. I forgot what they called it. I'm old school, man. They called it something, man, but there's people out here that like a yellow shower or something like that. They call it yellow. I don't know, man. See, I ain't into that stuff anyway. She said, I don't know if she gonna bring it up in this video, but Cassie said, because it came from a couple of people now. Uncle Mike wasn't there. I'm just telling you what. This is what news on YouTube says. Diddy told her doing the freak offs, right, to take the man milk. They call it man milk, right? No milkshakes. Man milk. Man milkshakes. That's what Uncle Mike gonna call it, as a milkshake, because it's thick. Take the man milkshake and put it on his chest. Showed this chest, pants, shoes. You could tell that I'm that dude. You could tell that I make moves, because when I step out, I'm fresh to death. So cool like a winter breeze, but I should be on an island sipping margaritas in the Philippines. They're my bars, baby. Anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Let's check this bad boy out, man. Cassie, explosive testimony. Let's check it out. Here we go.
Now,
man.
One damning piece of evidence.
Wow.
A note Cassie wrote to herself, recovered from her iCloud backup, that read, "He owns me. Even when I sleep, I'm not free."
Wow.
The court was silent as it was read aloud. Stop scrolling. Diddy's courtroom just exploded. Cassie Ventura took the stand and shattered the silence. What she revealed about freak-offs, firearms abuse, and blackmail tapes left the entire room frozen. This wasn't just testimony, it was a bombshell. Let's unpack everything that happened on day 2 of Diddy's federal sex trafficking trial.
Here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Today, Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. It's day 2 for real after the jury selection of the U.S. versus Sean Combs trial. Yesterday, we covered it in great detail. The jury selection in which the juror from the UN made it on, despite his claims to have that his office of counterterrorism doesn't work with U.S. law enforcement. It's not credible. But then there were the opening statements, hammering hard. Kenny Garagos did it for the defense, among their 9 lawyers. And she said this is about private personal conduct. and that he may be a terrible person, but it's not a federal RICO charge. The government hammered away, saying you're going to hear from Jane, Cassie, Mia.
This is your full breakdown of May 13th, today, the second day of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. We'll walk through the timeline, the accusations, the evidence, the defense, and the shockwaves from Cassie's heart-wrenching and graphic testimony. If you think yesterday was wild, today lit the courtroom on fire. Stay locked in, because this is raw, emotional, and quite honestly, terrifying. The second day began promptly at 9 a.m. at the U.S. District Court in Manhattan under heavy media and security presence. The judge, he called the court to order as spectators packed out the room and the entire gallery was filled. Many of them were journalists or survivors advocates and members of the music industry.
And then the witnesses began. There was first the LAPD officer who went to the 6th floor among the famous kicking incident. And it turns out that he filmed his own version of the security camera footage and preserved it for, he was going to just show his wife, but he preserved it for eternity. Now, the cross-examination of him was done by Brian Steele, who tried to point out various inconsistencies of things that he hadn't put in his written report at the time, but only remembered later while speaking to the prosecutors. It wasn't a bad cross at all. Coming off his young thug work, score one for Brian Steele. Now, the next witness was a...
Right. I think it was real important for the security guard did not put in his report that Cassie had a black eye. He didn't make not a police, but a security officer report. A security officer's job is to observe and report. And you never know, and they stress this, man, you never know. Your report have to be thorough because you never know how far it's going to go. So every report needs to be thorough. And I got to admit, there's been a lot of reports I did, just write out a report just to make the captain happy because ain't nothing going to come out of this. And it didn't. But that one time, and you seen, but this Diddy, man, Diddy ain't nothing gonna happen with Puffy. Nothing gonna happen with Puffy. Ain't nothing gonna happen. So he probably didn't want to write a report. I'd rather do other things than write the report. But it's important to write a thorough report, man.
It wasn't a bad cross at all. Coming off his young thug work, score one for Brian Steele. Yeah. Now, the next witness was I called him male dancer, but his last name was Philip, not with an S. And this is where it got pretty gruesome. Not gruesome. I mean, yes, gruesome. He was invited up and began to perform. But he stopped being able to perform once he saw the violence, he said. He was a kind of a compelling character in a way. Now, the defense chose to have Xavier Donaldson, who I like and know quite well. I mean, I cover him more than these other lawyers because he's on the CJA panel and represents many criminal defendants here in SDNY as appointed counsel. He's taken a kind of his first line of attack was to try to say that the male escort or exotic dancing firm of Mr. Phillip gamed SEO, so he must be a fraudster. That's not really going far. He didn't finish his cross, and it's going to begin today. And we're coming up on the courthouse. You're going to see the madness in front. So we'll see what he does. And today is going to be the day of Cassie Ventura. So this is a longer than normal intro, but it's a case that we're covering in great detail.
So first up on the stand this morning was the continuation of a witness from yesterday. Now, that was the male escort Daniel Phillip. Now, he alleged firsthand knowledge of Diddy's violence and sexual misconduct. For day 2, he had a little part in the morning. He had to finish some cross and some recross. But then, as promised, we have something more explosive. Cassie Ventura, Combs' longtime partner, and now, of course, she is the central figure in this entire criminal case. By 10/12, she was sworn in. And guys, she's 8.5 months pregnant. Like, I knew she was pregnant, but I didn't know she was that pregnant. And the reports are saying that she was visibly shaken. But the courtroom, it was dead silent. I mean, no phones, no murmurs, just tension so thick it could snap. Her testimony lasted well over 4 hours. And now it was broken into segments with recesses like water breaks and several procedural objections from the defense. And of course, they had to tie in breaks being almost 9 months pregnant. But nothing could dilute the gravity of what she was about to say.
I was in the courtroom as Cassie was testifying, so let me tell you guys everything that you didn't see or may have not heard, because it's a lot. I will say the most damning part of her testimony for me is when she describes a freak-off where Diddy and another man, an escort, are standing on top of her while she is laying on the floor high off of ecstasy, and they are urinating on her face to the point where she is choking on their pee. And to further give context, on the right-hand side of the court seated is her husband, Alex Fine. On the left-hand side, Diddy's 6 out of 7 kids are sitting.
Oh man, I forgot all about Diddy kids and this, especially the daughters. The three, well, the baby, I don't think the baby was there, but the 3 daughters, you got the twins and the other. Oh my God, I forgot all about them. I'm thinking that Cassie's husband is there. That gotta be disturbing. But she telling a story of what they father's doing to her. Oh my God, boy, I would be mad as I don't know what if even one of my parents was into something like this. Think about it, y'all. What you think?
Is choking on their pee. And to further give context, on the right-hand side of the court seated is her husband, Alex Fine. On the left-hand side, Diddy's 6 out of 7 kids are sitting in the courtroom as Cassie is describing having weekly freak-offs for years that would last 2, 3, one lasted up to 4 days. She talked about damaging hotel rooms so bad in one instance that they had to pay such a hefty fee because the hotel told them that they needed to completely redecorate the room after a freak-off. After a freak-off, there would be blood, urine, and lots of baby oil. There was so much baby oil. There was also so much baby oil talk to the point where the judge at one point told prosecutors, wrap it up. But before we even got there, a very pregnant Cassie was called to the stand.
Now, most of us have heard the Cassie's allegations. They have been public for a while now. But under oath, with no filter, she painted an intimate and disturbing portrait of a decade-long nightmare. She claimed some wild stuff, and all about Diddy. Well, he forced her into sex with strangers while he watched or filmed and also pleasured himself. He required her to carry a firearm illegally, sometimes across state lines. He verbally and physically abused her, including instances of slapping, dragging, and choking. He also introduced her to hard drugs and encouraged her to take them before freak-offs. Now, the biggest thing, and you could hear gas in the courtroom, he threatened to release compromising footage if she ever left or tried to disobey him. Now, one of the ways he isolated her was to cut her off from friends, family, and business contacts, creating a total dependency on him.
Wow.
He also forced her to recruit other women, not unlike what's been alleged in the past racketeering cases. But Cassie also testified that her life was not glamorous. It was a golden cage, laced with fear, control, and a lot of paranoia.
Watch yourself in the front.
Cassie's husband. That's the husband, I think.
That man do what he doing. Hey, we getting a shot.
The prosecutors, they came prepared. They introduced key exhibits as Cassie testified. There's surveillance footage from the 2016 video showing Diddy assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway. Now, this was previously leaked and we've all seen it, but entered into evidence for jury review. It was played in the courtroom and some jurors visibly recoiled. Then there was text message threads where Diddy allegedly instructed Cassie to get another girl for tonight and reference recording setups. Then there was photographic evidence of injuries taken by Cassie's friend, corroborated by hospital visit logs under a false name, an effort that prosecutors say to protect Cassie's identity and avoid media exposure. Then there's flight records and hotel bookings matching the timing and locations alleged freak-offs were happening, some of which involve escorts who are expected to continue to testify in the coming days. Now, one damning piece of evidence, A note Cassie wrote to herself, recovered from her iCloud backup, that read, "He owns me. Even when I sleep, I'm not free." The court was silent as it was read aloud. Now the defense, led by Tenny Garagos, knew this would be tough, but she leaned hard into certain angles to try to spin a narrative. The first one was the consent narrative. She argued that Cassie was willingly participating in Diddy's lifestyle and that she did it for over a decade. She also questioned her motives, suggesting that Cassie's recent civil settlement and book deal created a financial incentive to exaggerate or fabricate these claims. Then it was her drug use. They highlighted how Cassie had admitted in the past that she used MDMA and also alcohol, and they tried to paint this as a way that her memory was now clouded because of it.
Yeah, right.
Then there's the timeline. Garagos tried to highlight that the dates they didn't align, especially between the hotel receipts and Cassie's testimony. They argued that these memory gaps weakened her reliability. But the jury didn't seem to move. Several jurors maintained eye contact with Cassie, even as the defense attorneys tried to twist her words. Now, there was a viral moment. This was when Garagos asked, "Why didn't you just leave?" Cassie actually shot back, but through tears. She was crying on the stand. "Because he said if I ever did, I'd never work again and my mother would disappear." Like the courtroom gasped. Like everyone was in shock. Literally, the judge banged his gavel after that and just called for a recess.
She was wearing a tight brown turtleneck dress that was hugging her baby bump. When she sat down, you could tell she was nervous. And if you couldn't, you quickly picked up on it because once she started talking, you noticed that she paused a lot. She would sigh heavily before she answered a question. One of those moments was when she explained to the court that a year into their relationship, that Diddy had approached her with this fantasy that he had. He called it voyeurism, where he wanted to see her have sex with another man, later referred to as freak-offs. She said her stomach dropped. She was 22 years old. She described herself as very naive and a people pleaser. She said the only reason that she agreed to it is because she knew it would make him happy and she was afraid what would happen if she said no. That's also around the time, she says, that he started to get abusive. Most of her testimony today was spent on talking about these freak-offs, the different escorts that they would use, the different hotels that they would use. She said that she would find escorts off of Craigslist and this escort service called Cowboys for Angels. And to describe them, they weren't the most attractive men, right? They were very average looking. Some of them weren't even conventionally attractive. One thing they had in common is most of them were black because Diddy preferred for her black men with a big D, she said. At one point, Cassie broke down in tears when the prosecutor asked her, "Why didn't you leave? If the freak-offs, as you explained, were so disgusting and humiliating, why not leave?" And she started crying and said that she was very deeply in love and this was the only alone time that she could get with Diddy. And it got to a point where this was kind of the only emotional connection that she was getting from this man that she was dating. So much more that I'll cover in another video, including his incessant phone calls, him tracking her down with his security, and her never being able to escape him.
Now,
wow, man, that's a lot. That is a whole lot, man. Oh my gracious. If she truly loved him, I mean, how can you love somebody to treat you so bad? That's beyond me. It's beyond some of us, but it happens. This is the only alone time I can get with him, with all the drugs and other men in these freak-offs. I don't get it, but wow, that's deep, man. I feel sorry for her, but she better now. She got it together now, baby.
So much more that I'll cover in another video, including his incessant phone calls, him tracking her down with his security, and her never being able to escape him.
Now, some of the most shocking claims came in the final hour of her testimony.
Okay.
Cassie alleges that Diddy recorded the freak-offs with hidden cameras in hotel rooms and stored the footage on encrypted drives.
Even in the hotel room, he's recording. That is your biggest mistake. I know that they got something on them tapes that's going to put them away for good, and Diddy knows it too. But he gonna sit here and play this thing out to the end. No plea deal. I'm going to play it out to the end.
She once walked in on Diddy editing footage of another woman being assaulted. Footage he said he used to keep people in line. Cassie claimed that after a 2018 fight, Diddy forced her to apologize on video, half naked, while holding a gun to her. She says she was once sent to Miami with $10,000 in cash to deliver to a woman who had threatened to go public. The cash came with a non-disclosure agreement and a direct threat. If this goes online, she vanishes. Each revelation brought the courtroom closer and closer to chaos.
I'm trying to tell y'all, man, we still at the beginning. I have said this over and over again, that this trial, when it begins, there's going to be so much juice that leaks out of this courtroom. We don't need no cameras in there. Oh my God, hey, y'all might as well sit down and buckle up, hit that subscribe button, because Uncle Mike gonna cover all this stuff.
And Cassie, she
real
broke down
talk.
several times. Even Diddy's own legal team looked shaken. His head counsel paused multiple times to regroup. Honestly, the courtroom's emotional toll, it's just impossible to ignore. Diddy's daughters, seated behind the defense table, left the room sobbing during graphic portions. Members of the press described the testimony as the darkest day in hip-hop history. I don't know. There's a lot of people who've been killed and things like that, so I don't know. But it is pretty dark. And then there was celebrities and activists posting in real time online. Artists like Kehlani and Meek Mill expressing support for Cassie and calling the industry to be accountable. I'm sorry, Meek Mill? Meek Mill has been tied to Diddy's freak-offs, and not just participating with women, but him and Diddy himself. Now, that is all alleged. We don't have any direct evidence of it, but there are videos, there are witnesses, there is testimony about Meek Mill and Diddy clapping cheeks. But
And
shout
dressing
out to
alike.
Kehlani, who did post. Now, they were upset, but no one was more upset than the judge, who closed today by saying, this court will not tolerate any attempt to silence victims, inside this room or out. Now, it was that moment that set the tone for the rest of this entire trial. Okay, day 3 starts tomorrow, and it's going to resume at 9 a.m. sharp. And this is what we're going to be looking for. Of course, there's going to be further cross-examination of Cassie, though she may be excused early due to her late stage of pregnancy. I don't know how they would finish this trial without her. It's going to be complicated. But then there's also the introduction of digital forensic experts, reportedly being able to go through Sean Combs's encrypted files where most of his freak-off videos exist. Then there's also testimony from another female witness who is currently under a protective order, who allegedly experienced the same type of abuse. They could possibly get a brief from Homeland Security detailing international travel logs related to Diddy's entourage and potential trafficking violations. Like, Homeland Security? The trial isn't, guys, we know this isn't just about Diddy. It's about decades of abuse, power, and the silence of not only the music industry, but Hollywood, the whole entertainment industry, and the people who knew about this.
So we're taking a little bit of a break. Cassie just testified for about an hour and a half. She walked in with a brown fitted dress on. She was clearly visibly pregnant. She began by talking about how frequently she was abused when asked by prosecutors. She said things like too frequently, and said that she had knots on her head before, busted lips, swollen lip, bruises, that these things were normal for her. When asked about what is a freak-off, she talked about it being an experience where Combs watched Ventura have sex with other men, and she said that she learned about this concept within the first year of their relationship. Why she went along with it. When asked that question, she said, I was 22. I felt a sense of responsibility. I was confused, nervous, wanted to make him happy. So this is only the first hour and a half of her testimony. We're taking a lunch break, but when we come back, I'm sure we'll get more into the details of their relationship. Remember, though, this is a case about a criminal enterprise, sex trafficking, racketeering. So they're laying the foundation as to the relationship between Sean Combs and Cassie Ventura, Cassandra Ventura, but it's moving kind of slow right now, but we'll be providing another update when we get more information.
As I've said, this is not a celebrity trial. It's a reckoning. Cassie Ventura, who many dismissed as just Diddy's arm candy for years, just stepped into a courtroom and dropped a complete bomb, a nuclear bomb that it's already ended his empire, but it will end it even more. Today's testimony finally, I think, gave her a voice where she found herself voiceless for many years. And then we can see that all the money, fame, and clout, well, it means nothing when you're living like this. The jury now has the evidence, the video, the text, the testimonies. But more than that, they have an unfiltered, unshaken voice of a survivor. What happens next? We got to watch, we record, and we demand to know the truth. No matter how famous the person who's accused, no one should be subjected to this type of thing. We're going to keep following this trial closely. And let me ask you, leave a comment below. Do you believe Cassie, or do you think Diddy's empire is going to crumble for good? Do you think he's going to be found guilty? Make sure you subscribe, because tomorrow's courtroom session could be even more explosive. And we are going to be right here. I'll be glued to my computer like I was today. No breaks, no nothing. It's been wild, but I want to give you all the full details. I'm also doing breakdowns of any transcripts I can get my hands on. I don't have the full transcript. Like I said before, you can't have cameras in the courtroom. They're not allowed to record anything, but I do have reporters and people on the ground who are kind of shorthanding what is being said while the testimony is going on. So if you haven't checked out those videos, I have Cassie's testimony up right now, part 1 and part 2, and I will continue to do it tomorrow. I'm also going to go back and do witness 1 and witness 2, which was, the Flores guy who was the security guy at the hotel that they're talking about from the 2016 video. He's now an LAPD officer. So I'm going to do his transcript. And then I'm also going to do Daniel Phillip, the male escort who did the freak-offs with Cassie. So it's a lot, guys. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you very shortly.
Most definitely, man. Hey, it's funny when you hear the same thing from the perspective of other people that was in the courtroom, and they, like Tisha Tales said something, and everybody is saying that Diddy and the male used the bathroom on Cassie, man. Poor thing. You gotta sit there and say this in the courtroom, knowing that Diddy's daughters are sitting there listening. They probably heard all this before. Oh my gracious, Cassie, man. Oh man, I'm praying for you, girl. No woman should have to go through this, man. We gotta do better than this as people, man. We gotta do better. I don't know what else to say. This is it's about to get deeper. It's about to get deeper, man. A lot of this stuff gonna come out, and oh my gracious, KK, I don't even know when they gonna get to her, man. So by the time I get up to New York, the juice gonna be already dripping. It's gonna be soaking wet by the time I get there. Look here, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.